Welcome, Aries, to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 23rd of February for the Ascendant, the Sun, or the Moon. I'm going to share with you, first of all, the big themes of the week, one of which includes your ruler Mars in a very tense standoff with the planet of restlessness, Uranus, which is quite tricky. But I'm then going to share with you the event chart on screen, always influential at the start of the week and provides a backdrop as we begin this week. But then I'll go through all the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of how things are in terms of your relationships, your money, your energy, but also your career prospects too. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now and help it to continue to thrive. Now, Mars is coming to the end of its journey in the sign of Aquarius, where it's very much about collaboration, networking, teamwork even. It's going to be moving on the 2nd of March into the subterranean energies of Pisces. In fact, if you recall, at the start of the year, we had a stellium of energy in the practical Capricorn that then passed into Aquarius. Mars is the last player there beyond Pluto, but the tiny and influential Pluto will be in Aquarius full time through to 2043. So Mars is about to move into that more reflective area, but just before it says au revoir, it's in a sharp right angle with the restless vibe of Uranus. And if we go back to when Uranus first moved into the sign of Taurus, in the middle of May 2018, the two were at odds then. So it's a strange synchronicity as Uranus prepares to leave the sign of Taurus on the 26th of April. But if you are uncertain about your future plan, particularly around how you earn a living, then I feel that that energy is going to be very powerful this week. Now, we also have Mercury going retrograde on Thursday through to the 20th of March when we have the spring equinox. The sun returns to your sign, but it is in the soggy Pisces, not Mercury's favorite position. But despite that, Mercury does forge a very positive link towards the end of this week with another key planetary player. We also have a quarter moon on Tuesday. What's the implications of that? On the screen is the event chart. You can see Mars there at 24 degrees and Uranus at 27. It's possible that there could be tensions between you and other people in a group dynamic. Maybe your desire to crack on with something is being bogged down because somebody else is not as clear or doesn't share your sense of urgency, and that can amp up a real impatience. But I think it is important this week to understand with the Sun, the North Node, the retreating Mercury from Thursday, and Venus all in the sign of Pisces, that it's key that you tune into your instincts as much as get caught up in that frustration. And on Tuesday, we have a quarter moon in Gemini. Now, the moon's in Peregrine in Gemini. It's a bit lost because it's an air sign, so it's about quick, fast communication. It's not so much about feeling. The sun, however, is in that much more emotional Pisces. And the 12th third house energy of that quarter moon for 1 week suggests you shouldn't open up and share anything confidential with anyone you don't know very well. They could use it against you. However, there is the potential for fortune as you come into this week because of the link between Venus, the lesser benefit, and Jupiter, the greater benefit. But it may be fortune more to do with a conversation where someone's tuned into you or very supportive or encouraging. Not everything has to be material. Now, of course, Saturn and Neptune are finding their feet in your zodiac sign, and that's suggesting that you will have to perhaps slow down a little bit. Fortunately, Chiron, which since February 2019 has been pushing you to really evolve your strength of purpose as an individual, is actually supported very well by Mars at the start of this week. So if your attentions are more towards your inner world, strengthening your resilience and being aware of where you need to direct your energy, and don't find yourself too caught up in situations that are difficult and tricky to control. That Mars Uranus square, I think that's going to be to your advantage. But as the week goes on, we do have that Mercury retrograde. I'm one of those people that feels that Mercury retrograde does give us opportunities, but it is a tricky planet to have in Pisces, to be honest, because here it's debilitated, because Mercury depends on clarity, crispness, and of course, sharp communication. And therefore, the fact that we do have that Gemini quarter moon is rather ironic here. So I would be pretty careful about not being too open, and it's possible that there may be some gossip doing the rounds. And the important thing is to steer clear, perhaps, of someone you know is a little bit loose with information, even if you basically like them. Now, by the end of the week, there is a lovely link between the retreating Mercury and the advancing Venus. And that actually can be very positive for you, but it is more in the feeling and emotional domain. So, as much as your nature is to make things happen, be very dynamic, on the front foot, this is a week which requires some care, particularly around those friends and that group situation, not to rush any financial opportunities with the square with Uranus. Understand that you are going through a period until the sun returns to your sign on the 20th, where you may find yourself needing some quiet time, some contemplation, and therefore your physical vitality may be a little bit on the low side. But what about those relationships? Well, of course, Venus is very much about relationships. And it is therefore possible for some Aries people that someone from your past is going to come up as an echo in your thinking. You may feel very nostalgic or sentimental. Will you meet up with an old flame? Possibly. I think what's a surer thing to say is that you can certainly be much more invested in someone who's very empathetic and understands the more atmospheric side of relationships. So, as much as you can be that leader, that person who really seizes opportunities and drives forwards, I think this is a week which requires patience. It requires being in touch with your emotions and your feelings. Steer clear of the gossips, and just know that sensitivities are running somewhat high. Discover what March holds in store for you by clicking on your March deep dive video on the screen. Also on the second screen gives you the opportunity to join me at my new website. There's lots of exciting information. It's not generic like a lot of horoscope sites are. It's all written very much from the heart, and it would be great to have your company. And if you've yet to order your personal horoscope forecast and life roadmap combination at 50% off, if you get the Natal version, please apply Astro 26 at the checkout and you'll get that 50% off. If you'd like to understand your soul or karmic version, the draconic option, please add at the checkout Draco 26.